இங்கே வச்சுக்கோ.
உங்களுக்கு என்ன யாரோட கௌதம்?
Hey, hello. Can you hear me? Great, thanks. So let's wait for maybe 5-10 minutes, or maybe 1 or 2 minutes, or not 5-10 minutes, 1 or 2 minutes. We will we'll start soon. Once we have a decent number of participants joined. Yeah. Hey, I'm just reading a message that your typing is making too noisy. Is this now? It's not noisy, right? I'm not typing anything. Cool. Thank you. Yeah, that's a good question. Let me figure out how to do that. Okay, cool. Thanks, Gautam. Okay, I think let's start. And it's 2 minutes now. Hey, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, all. I know there are many, and there are people joining from India. There are from people from Europe, and so welcome to this our webinar session. The next 1 hour, I'm going to talk about how do we achieve business agility through SAFE framework, right? Scaled Agile framework. What does this Scaled Agile framework mean, and how do we achieve that? Yeah. So the next 45 minutes or so, we'll talk about those this presentation, and let's see if we have some time to quickly have a question answer. Yeah. So we can do some kind of interaction. Okay. So let me just move on to the next slide. Okay, the first one is about introduction. So those who don't know me, know who I am. I am Jai Prakash Prabhakar. People call me as JP. People know me as the industry knows me as JP. And I'm actually an enterprise agile coach, and I'm also a SAFE program consultant. I started my SAFE journey in 2000, agile journey in 2010, 9 and 10, and SAFE journey in 2011. Ever since SAFE started it's the first version of a framework. So I've been with SAFE for last 9+ years. I've gone through all the ups and downs, and all the ups and downs of the framework and the implementation part of it. So I'm more of a consultant than a trainer. So you about some examples. Give some examples in the next 30-40 minutes and see how it goes. So that's a quick background about myself, short and quick background. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you through a million years of mankind. I don't know whether you know this or not. Human is not born to work. The human is born to enjoy the life. That's what I read somewhere. When I went to deeper on this, I realized that we work only in the last 12,000 years or 10,000 years or so. Before that, we were not working. Actually, we were just the human was just going around enjoying the life, and that's how the human life started. So let's look at the mankind, how we moved from one to another and where we are today. Let's look at the last 1,000 years and 100 years and 20 years, and then see where we are today, right? What kind of life that we are in today. 1,000 years back, if you look at, can you all see the presentation? I hope you can see the presentation, right? Can somebody confirm that you're able to see that? Okay, great. Thanks, Partha. So, so if you look at the last 1,000 years, 1,000 years back, we were actually, this is how we were. If you look at some of the photographs, some of them, this is how we were. So we were, we were actually, moving from one state to another. Actually, surprisingly, I saw that there was a washing machine 1,000 years back, and we are so good in actually constructing, and we had a lot of temples. Actually, in India, you can see, we were actually good in technology in certain in those aspects. Our transportation was predominantly on either if you look at the horse, or on the right side it's a boat. That's how it was, and the bottom center one is how we fought with each other. We have to see each other to fight. So we cannot fight from far. Right? That's how we were. We have to literally go close to each other and then fight. So that's how the technology was 1,000 years back. And and then if you switch from 1,000 years to 100 years back, like in 1800s, mid 1800s or late 1800s, if you see 100 plus years back, this is how we were. Technology has improved a bit, where we had boats, like we had if you see the left hand side of the photo, and there is a nice boat, and we still were using horses. So for 1,000 years, we were probably using horses. All our Maharajas were actually using horses and elephants for the commutation and for their the war fields and all that. We actually improved to an extent, like we had some first version of car came out, like 2000 in 1,100 years back. We actually had a first flight takeoff in 1917, which was probably 100 plus years now, and then so we had some decent transportation. So for us, it took like close to 900 years for us to reach here, from 1,000 years back, and now it took a long time. So we were gradually evolving. Now, this is how our cities were, across the globe 100 years back. If you look at Paris, if whoever has visited Paris, you'll get shocked to see this photograph. And look at Mumbai. Anybody from Mumbai, this is not probably this is the Mumbai that you want now, but you won't get it. Right? Such a wonderful place. It looks like. Some cities have developed. So New York has some decent development. We can make out. Just below, look at so shockingly, I was actually personally shocked when I saw this photo. Tokyo, how it was like 100 years back, right? This is how we were in development. So what happened after that, right? The last 100 years, we have gone through huge transformation in technology, right? Technology, and a lot of changes that changes for good and bad that happened. Here are the few tools that we were using 30 years back, 20, 30 years back. Like gramophone was something which is like 50 years back. It was big. like one big disc you will see, and then one full song was in the disc, right? And TV has a shutter door, and there was a lot of fun stuff that we had, and that was a wow for us, right? So that's how we were 20 years back, 30 years back. We were like that. We're not too far. Yeah. So this generation, if you are probably 40, 50 years now, probably you would have seen some of this, right? I'm sure you would have seen some of this, right? The first version of computer and the transistor and the phone, the telephone you can make out, right? So that's how we were. What has changed in the last 50, 100 years, if you closely notice? The first one that has changed is we have gone a little more taller. Yeah, human has gone a little more taller, and we have gone a little more fatter, which is not surprise, right? If you look at the disease on the right side, uh, the kind of disease that we had in the past, some of them completely eradicated, like TB is completely gone, right? Bronchitis is pretty much gone, right? It doesn't exist. On the other side, there are new diseases that we got. Something like diabetes is kind of increased. Heart disease has gone pretty much the same. Suicide rate has gone up, right? So it's good and bad. If you come down, cars registered, if you see, close to 10,000 cars registered like in 1915, and 19 lakh cars got registered in 2014. Probably if I pull the data today, probably it is like 25, 30 lakhs minimum, right? So that's how it is. Like too many. The big transformation happened in those industries, right? And life expectancy also has changed, right? In the last 100 years. If you see, life expectancy changed for male from 53 to 78, for female from 54 to 82 in the last 100 years, right? Very, very surprising, right? Well, how will it change? Is it because our technology has changed a lot, right? We are the generation. This generation is that's living now is going through a very different transformation compared to any other generation. Yeah, I would any generation you call it in the last 1,000 years, right? So look at some of the industrial revolution that's happening today. IoT is a revolution, right? And Internet of Things. Internet was not there 20 years back, right? We got first time. I'm sure some of you would have had this Hotmail email, and then you send a mail, and then it goes to somewhere else, and you're able to read from other machine. It was wow, right? Internet was such a big thing, there's those days. Now it is becoming very common. Everybody, without internet, we cannot live, right? Internet of Things is coming up, right? And especially in developed countries, it's very, very fast. Right? Virtual reality, cyber security, right? Security industry, I know that, 1980s was like, the kids were writing viruses. Today, there are large organizations, focusing on, viruses. The next world war, is predicted to be a more cyber war than, bomb blast. Right? That's a level of technology improvement. You can shut down a country just by remotely switching off their the cyber part of it. Right? Artificial intelligence is coming up big. Next few years you'll see big. Cloud computing is already big. Right? It's without cloud we can't live anymore. Blockchain is coming up. Medical science. Look at the kind of technology that we have in medical science. We've improved so much, right? The disease, the life expectancy has increased because our medical sciences technology has improved so much that you're able to live longer. It's not because of the stress has gone out. Actually, if you notice, our stress has gone high, but life expectancy is still going high because we're able to take care of things. We are able to detect the disease, and we're able to cure the diseases, right? So it's a lot of good things. Yeah. So some examples of large systems. So 100 years back, none of these systems that existed. 20 years back, the kind of systems that we were building were probably small applications, right? If you go back and look at the application, the product that you have built or you have seen 20 years back, they're all small, maybe like an HR kind of application, or very basic systems, except for maybe something like a mainframe, right? Most of them were very simple systems, right? Not very complex. Today, it is not the same. Look at the ERP application, the SAP, how it has grown. IoT solutions, right? And e-commerce solutions, right? Online solutions. It's not that simple. Like just simply take Amazon.com. It's not that very simple, right? To have an online store, and then so things have gone big, right? Large systems have evolved a lot in the last probably 10, 15 years, right? 15 years is when that it really started. Probably the last 15 years, it has really, really grown high, right? The kind of applications we build now are nowhere closer to the kind of applications probably I was building 20 years back when I was a developer. Right? It's totally different. The complexity that we deal with now is much higher than the complexity that I dealt with when I was a developer. Yeah. So that's the truth. Yeah. Okay. This is something that I looked at this. This Lividium is one of the the companies that basically helps in building smart cities. Yeah. So this is one of the pictures that I picked it from their site, or their some of the papers. This shows about city planning. Yeah, it's all about city planning, how the city should be, and everything you see, you can't probably read each of these boxes, right? Everything is connected to software. Today, we cannot live without software. Right? A city functions because of software. Everything, hospitals will shut down because of software doesn't exist. Your transportation will not happen. You cannot take off. Rocket cannot launch. Nothing will work if software doesn't work. Yeah. So that's the state that we are in. So software is going to rule. It's already ruling, and it's going to continue ruling it. Yeah. And what kind of software we develop? They're not the simple ones. They're very complex ones. Yeah. Let me switch the gear slightly, and I'll show you a very different data. Now, I said in the last 100 years, if you look at last 1,000 years, if you look at last 1,000 years, the last 100 years we have gone through much bigger change, isn't it? Right. So, and last 20 years we have gone through much the change that we are going through, where we are looking at, we are kind of witnessing, is much bigger than the first 70 years of the last 100 years. Yeah. So that means we need to change. Things are changing very rapidly now, right? And we need to change rapidly, right? There's no option of not changing today, right? So some of the examples, and I see that life of a CEO, right, and life of a lifespan of a company, right? There is the S&P is in a stock market of top large 500 large cap US companies. If you look at the bottom, the second graph, it shows a life of a company was like 30-40 years back, it was around 60 years, and the life of a company today is around 14-15 years. Right? Companies are so fast. There are very seldom companies that can survive beyond it. Yeah, that's how it is looked at. Yeah. I read a book called Good to Great. Sometimes it was written by a great author, Jim Collins, and he has done 5 years of study to see what kind of good companies have gone to great companies, right? And he's one of the data that one of the 5 aspects that he looks at it about leadership, and he says a leader transformed the company for staying for 15 years. A company is transformed from good to great. This is where this good, and then it gone to great in 15 years. And the CEO of the company or the executives of the company have made the transformation, which means people have stayed for 15 years. The leaders have stayed for 15 years in the company. If you look at the graph on the left side, life of a CEO today in large cap companies is on an average 3 to 4 years today. Things have changed. Yeah. So we don't have patience. We have no time. We have to produce results how we are today. So there's another data, very different data. How do we reach 50 million users, right? If you look at some of these, airline took around 68 years or so, right? Automobile took plus 60 years, right? If you go from top to bottom one by one, you will see that the last 3-4 of them, right, reached very fast. For example, Facebook took 2-3 years. WeChat took 1 year, and if I remember, Twitter took 1.5 or 2 years, right, to reach 50 million users. So reaching 50 million users then was a very long time. Automobile industry took maybe half a decade, right? Or half a century, not even decade, half a century. Like 50 years, 50 plus years, right? Telephone took maybe 30-40 years to reach 50 million users. But today, you can actually build an app, and in 2 years or in 1 year, you can reach 50 million users. Yeah, that's the way that we are changing. Yeah? So it's we have to live with that. We have to accept it. Yeah, that's a fact. So let me once again call it out. Right, the current generation is going through faster change compared to any of the generations in the last 1,000 years of mankind. Right, so we are, what do you say? I would say that we are lucky enough to be in this be here alive, kind of looking at all of this, right? How big changes. I'm sure next 20 years, 30 years, I won't get surprised. My son goes to US in the morning and comes back in the evening, right? Or goes to the moon for a week trip, right? It all will happen soon, yeah. So because of the way it is going, which means we have to be ready for it, right? Agility is very, very important in terms of business, right? We cannot compromise on it, right? So let's look at it. So is agile required to build a better software? Because yes, in software building, the best way of building software is through agile, that we all know, right? And software is everything. Nothing is going to go away. Nothing can happen on its own. Everything is going to be controlled by software. So agile is the right thing to do. Yeah, definitely agile is required. The next question is agile enough? No, agile is not enough to cope with technology and large system development. It's not about technology. It's actually the second part, the large system development. Because agile is all about, agile was this 4 values and 12 principles were introduced in 2001, and nothing has changed. Yeah, so it's great. Agile Scrum is one of the best frameworks, right? And it was introduced in 1996. 97 it was officially launched. 3 years now, probably, right? 22, 23 years. It has changed to an extent, but it did not change as much as how the industry is transforming. Industry is transforming very, very fast. Yeah. So some of the examples that I showed you. So is agile enough or Scrum enough? No, it won't be enough. Is agile required? Definitely it is required. No doubt about it. We need agile, but alone just a Scrum will not help, right? So what does it mean? Let's look at next question. With so much of changes, so much of dynamism in the industry, is it okay to have a longer lead time? When I say lead time, how long it takes for us to understand the requirement and release it to market? If this is where I understand the requirement and this is where I release, what is the duration? My customer comes here, I'm handing over a product to my customer. What can be the duration? Can it be a year? Most of us will say no. Can it be 6 months? Probably no. Today it has gone not even to days, it has gone to hours and minutes, right? It has come down, Amazon's principle is writing a code is value at a time. Customer using is a value at a time. Anything between in the middle is a waste. Yeah, the definition. Yeah, that means I write a code. Next minute, my customer is using it. If there is, if the gap, the delta between me writing and then my customer is, say for example, it is 1 day. 1 day is waste, right? Customer is not using my. Amazon is looking at their business, yeah, and that's how they are number one today in their space. Yeah. What do we learn from this? We learn. sorry guys. So we learn that we need more agility forever. For sure we need agility, and there is no. Sorry, let me just take a little water. Sorry. Okay, so we need more agility. However, it's not enough to be at the team level. Yeah. Okay, so what level we need? Right? We need agility at a business level, and whatever it takes it to do business level. Yeah, that's what the business agility comes in. What is the definition of business agility? Business agility, I just looked at the internet to see. Let me pick some simple examples of simple definitions. Yeah, so this is what Wikipedia says: ability of a business system to rapidly respond to change by adapting its initial stable configuration. It changes rapidly and it is stable. Every moment that we change, we are stable and we change. We are stable, we are changing. We're stable, we are changing. And how fast it should be? It should be, if you notice, it's a quickly, and it should be very rapidly. Right? Business agility has to be very quick and rapid. What does respond to change quickly means or rapidly means? Some of the examples that I've listed. Yeah. If this is agility, right? But the way they scale up is so high. So look at Amazon, 11 to 14,000 deployments a day, minimum they do it, right? In a day, and probably this number is higher now, unofficially. Google, this was last year's, not last year's, like 6 months back data. 4 million builds a day to integrate for, and 500 million tests runs a day. 500 million. Yeah. So in Indian conversion, 1 million equal to 10 lakhs. So you can imagine. Yeah. So 10K to 15K tests run per every check-in for Facebook. And Netflix is 4 to 10,000 deployments a day, right? So many deployments. And I understand that, Google search engine alone has got like 38,000 deployments or something like that per day, per day. Yeah. So on an average, Amazon releases like, no, I think the data that I said, for 11 to 14,000 deployments, I think it's wrong. Today it is actually 1.4 lakh deployments a day. I think that's the wrong data. So on an average, every second they deploy twice a second. So it's so fast. Yeah. Small companies like even HubSpot is able to release 300 times a day. So that is what is rapid means. Rapid doesn't mean that one team will work for 2 weeks and release it, and we're good with it, right? And any of these applications, if you look at it, it's not a small team, small product. It's all giants, big, large enterprises, right? So, so your agility cannot be at the team level. It should be at the business level, and it should be at the enterprise level, which means it has to be scaled. Right? We have to think about how do we scale agility, right? So maybe in the next few slides we'll look at what does scaling mean. Yeah. So and business agility. These are some of the capabilities that you can look at it, like of business agility. For example, first one is deliver fast and response. Innovation and disruption. Product innovation, process innovation, technology innovation. All these are are given today. There's no choice that we have to take, like should we innovate or not. The organization that has so an organization lifespan is moved from that long 60 years to, imagine, like couple of years now, right? So or 10-15 years. That means an organization that doesn't innovate will be thrown out, right? No way. So you have to kill your own product by having a competitor product within the organization. That's how the companies are looking at today, right? So, and adapt organization and culture. It's a very, very, the most important aspect of transformation or adoption is the culture part, right? Culture eats strategy for breakfast. If you don't have a right culture, it will eat the organizational strategy. So it's very important to have agility as a culture, not as a process, right? And definitely leadership effectiveness, right? How agile are our leaders, not the teams. It's very important to have a leaders driving the transformation, leaders owning the transformation. So ownership culture comes right from the top, not at the team level. Yeah? That's why I said agility as agile as a team level will not work. Yeah? Okay, so let's look at now what is SAFE, right? So SAFE is actually a framework that understood, it was introduced in 2011, that kind of introduced, that understood the challenges with just agility at a team level, and say, hey, we have to do something to see how we build large systems, right? Scrum is all about just one team. Yeah. If you have I have 5-member team, I start, I have one Scrum Master, a product owner, and 5 developers. We are a good Scrum team. Yeah. So Scrum is very, very beautiful framework, right? It has solved a lot of our problems that we had in the past. However, is that enough? What if I have 5 teams? Scrum doesn't know. Scrum doesn't know what to do if the moment I have 2 teams, right? What should the 2 Scrum Masters do? What should the product owners do together if they need to work together? Scrum doesn't have answer for it. That's where scaling frameworks started coming. The first version of one of the early frameworks that came up in the industry was SAFE. It's called Scaled Agile Framework. It is a lean and agile framework. Yeah, it is not it's not a agile only framework. It has borrowed the best part of the best worlds of the best of the lean world and the best of agile world has been borrowed, integrated, and made as a scaling framework. Right? Why lean? Because if you look at the manufacturing industry, look at the automobile industry, right? So these are all the industries that has gone through a huge transformation in the last 100 years. They figured out how to and how not to build products, how to build a good car, how not to build a bad car, and how to sustain it through lean transformation. Right? There are a lot of good things that we can learn from these industries. There are tons of things. Every day I read something new, and then I learn about how Toyota works. right? How this any manufacturing industry company works, and without a waste, right? They reduce the waste close to zero, right? So what do we learn from lean organization? Because and these companies, like any car manufacturing company, if you look at the number of people they work, it's a large system, right? It's not a small system. So we have to learn. One is about a good practice from them. Second is how to build large systems, right? They have built large systems in the past. How do we build large systems? So that's one part. However, we cannot eliminate Agile, because Agile has its own strength. Like at the team level, it's one of the best frameworks. Like, Scrum is one of the best frameworks. How do we make use of it? So Lean and Agile would be the right solution. That's how SAFe framework has a lot of focus on Lean and Agile. Yeah. So so what are the things? So if you see that, I have kind of, the picture says that, it's I call it as, SAFe house of Lean, and that has a roof that has the four pillars, and one, the bottom, foundation. So the roof is all about value. So the lean organizations always work on delivering value in a sustainably shortest lead time, right? If customer wants something, can I deliver it immediately without manufacturing it, without producing it, right? First, I have no product available, and customer comes to me and asks me, can you give me a product? I manufacture or I produce that in a very short time and immediately deliver. That is what is sustainably shortest lead time without prior production, right? Let's not produce. It's called just-in-time production, right? That's about it. Second is the flow is all about continuously optimize the throughput. End to end. Look at end to end. Like customer comes here, I want a product. Customer gets a product. Customer wants car. Customer gets a car. How many bits of pieces are here in the middle? You have to procure the raw material, right? And the raw material has to be probably polished and things like that, and it has to go through production. When you say car manufacturing, you can imagine, like, there are hundreds of parts that have to be produced, and all of them have to come together, and then it should be assembled. Once it is assembling is done, it should be tested, and it should be shipped. Transportation has to happen. It should go to a showroom, and customer gets it there. It looks like a small, flow, but the flow is big, right? This is not one. The production alone can be multiple factories, right? If you can imagine the complexity there, right? The lean organizations say that optimize the throughput continuously. How fast can you deliver in the shortest lead time, right? Let me take you through an example. How do we deliver a value? Let's take one example in software itself, right? Requirement is defined by customer, right? The first box in the board, blue color box on the left that you see. Requirements are defined by the customer. Yeah. At the right corner, you see it is released to customer. Product is being delivered to customer, and customer can use it. Yeah. If you look at the steps there, okay, requirements are defined. Now somebody looks at the architecture part of it, and then the design part of it, and then is it ready for implementation? Yeah. Do you have infrastructure ready? Have you understood? Do we have skill to build? A lot of things that will come in ready for implementation. And then we really get into the implementation part, where that's where we write code, we do design, we do code, we do automation, we do test, a lot of things, right? And then we integrate it with another bigger, larger system, and then do maybe final test, right? Final system integration, and then we deliver to customer. So all the green ones that you see, the 2 days and 1 week and 1 day, all of this are the time that we spend on while doing the work. But at the below, you see a down arrow, and then you see in red color 1 month, 10 days, 1 month. These are all the time that we wait. We just wait for somebody to act. Right? A requirement is given by customer to maybe a product manager. By the time it reaches a developer, it probably takes a month or two minimum, right? And then there are many times that I've seen, we are ready, but it has to be integrated with another system. The dependency is not met, and that system is not ready, and we're going to wait for maybe 3 months or 2 months, right? If you look at this, all the green together, the total effort is only 3 weeks. The total value added effort, the effort that we spent in working and in building, is only 3 weeks. But the total time that we have wasted in waiting is 6 months, right? This is a sad part of it, right? In most of the cases, when there is a flow, this is called value stream map, value streaming from one end all the way to another end, right? So from requirements definition all the way till release. So value is streaming, and when there is a flow of value, it is expected to have some delay, right? Because there is always a handover and takeover, and unfortunately, wherever there is a value streaming from one end to another end, and there are multiple people in the middle to take over and hand over, it has been proven that non-value at a time has always been maybe 80-90%. Right? It has been proven. The value at a time is only 10 to 20%. What does it mean? If you just step back, implement in the middle, you see 1 week of work. That is where we spend good effort in engineering to produce a product, right? If you want to really focus on improving a quality or improving productivity, right, which is a very big thing in the industry today, right? Everybody wants higher productivity. Where will you improve? Will you improve productivity in 1 week time, or will you simply just remove the waste that we have, like 3 months or 1 month time? I just remove 3 months, my overall schedule from 6 months, it will go down to 3 months, right? It's just that we need to plan ahead well and say, hey, we need to we are there another 3 weeks, we'll be there for integration. Are you ready? If you're not ready, we're not going to start it, right? We don't want to start and then stop, right? This is a lean concept, lean principles. Yeah, having a value stream map and removal of waste. There are 7 types of waste that you will see in lean organization. One of the biggest waste is just waiting. Right, waiting, can be just removed. Right, you don't need any process efficiency for removing. Yeah, so our focus should be on removing it. Right? Safe is all about looking at lean way of building a good product. One of the very cool principles that I have seen is in Safe is have a value stream and remove the waste wherever possible. Right? Just by removing the waste, you will see that productivity is going up. Right? The faster time to market will happen. The business agility will happen. Right? You don't have to wait for 6 months. You can actually release. Right? One of my clients, large system, large product. It's not a software development. It's a non-software development a team. Which is not one team. It's a large, 300, 400 people working together and completing this job. It's a cloud migration project. It was taking like 9.5 months. Initially we just drew the whiteboard and then we say, hey, let us see where we are, why it takes 9.5 months, and we figured out that 6 months directly is on waste, and we could remove literally 4.5 months the waste part of it. We're waiting. We just made an agreement that hey, I'm sending you a document, it's lying on you for 15-20 days. Can you make an agreement that you will give me feedback in less than 24 hours? And if you don't give a feedback, I assume you're okay with that. Just simple working agreements helped us to move forward. We actually got good quality product going out in close to 5 months. Yeah, it was 9.5 months project. No automation, no big improvements in technology side. So just said, open your eyes and look at where you're wasting time and wasting energy. Just take that out. Yeah. So this is one good thing that Safe really drives. Like every Safe program, we really look at where are we wasting time. Yeah. Okay. Next set, if you look at, okay, those 2 are done. Safe focus a lot more on innovation. Right. So what does it mean? Safe. In a PI, we call it as PI. Soon I'll take you through what is it. PI is a program increment. You can safely assume that it's a 3-month window. In every 3 months, at least 2 weeks of time, one full sprint, one full iteration is all about innovation and planning. Right? Pretty much 1.5 weeks of time is dedicatedly given to every developer for innovation. Right? That's how lean organizations have transformed, because innovation comes from producers. Right? Those who assemble the system, those who manufacture the system were those who innovated in Toyota, not those not those senior folks who are sitting and watching the car manufacturing. Right? Majority 99% of innovation happened from those laborers who were doing it. Right? So, and the bottom, if you see, leadership responsibility cannot be delegated. So this we differ from Agile. Agile is all about self-organized team. When you build a large system, teams cannot be just self-organized. You cannot self-organize 100 people together. Right? You need some leaders to take it and drive it and own it. Right? So Safe will drive the leadership agility. Right? Who's a leader? Who's responsible? If the Safe program is failing, the first person to be brought is the leader who is driving the SAFe program. How come this has been failed, and not the teams, right? So leaders have a lot more responsibility, and that's a very, very positive thing. I've seen a lot of success because having a right leader and having a good working agreement with leader about and good knowledge about SAFe, knowledge transfer to leader about SAFe has enabled me to to help in a lot of large program implementations. Yeah. The last one is definitely culture. Cultural change comes last. SAFe focuses on cultural transformation, not just a process. It's a process framework. However, it focuses on cultural transformation, which means, like, for example, leader, right? What kind of a leader you are, right? Are you following the right quality? SAFe enforces extreme programming practices, for example, right? It just doesn't allow only the process related changes. So which means the quality is a culture, right? Quality culture will go up. SAFe has a continuous integration, right? It enforces on continuous integration, which means a fail fast culture, right? It brings in at least some 10-15 different cultures within the organization, right? Okay, so now let me take you through a SAFe framework, right? So this is how the SAFe framework looks today, right? The current version of SAFe is 4.6, and as I said, it's a lean agile framework. Where does lean come from, and where does agile come from? If you look at the bottom portion, the team area is about agile, right? Definitely we need agile. We cannot skip agility. We need agile, and but implement agile at the bottom. But on top, like your program level people, program level work has to happen, and then above that there is a solution, and above that there is a portfolio. Right? It's a SAFe is a multi-layered framework, like 4-layered framework with a full configuration. So at the bottom layer is all about agile, and above layers have a lot more influence from lean. Right? So okay, agile part of SAFe. Yes, we are agile. There is agile part of SAFe. Sorry. So if you look at the center, there is arrow marks. It's about each vertical line is a sprint, is an iteration, and we will be agile team as we will be agile as a team, running 2 week sprints, and then we'll do sprint planning, review, retrospective, backlog refinement, daily scrum. All of this are followed strictly, right? And that's why if you look at my next slide, I would say this is my strong belief. Scaling without agility is a failure for sure. Don't get into scaling if your teams are not agile enough, right? I'll give you a simple example. There are 5 developers writing a code, and in a sprint, if they write say 500 lines of code and the code quality is bad, they write say 50% of the code is bad, 250 lines of code is bad. Is it good or bad? It is bad, right? 250 lines of code is bad. What if we have 10 teams like that with the same quality, and they come together and then build a large system? It's not 500 lines of code in a sprint, it is 5,000 lines of code in a sprint. What does it mean? That means we will build 2,500 lines of bad code in one sprint. In 10 sprints, 25,000. In a year, please count it. You know what the pain is. Yeah. So if you don't have right agile practices at the bottom, at the team level, and then we go to SAFe. This is SAFe. It's great. Let's move. No, it will fail. For sure, it will fail. Yeah. So if you look at some of those I mentioned, like the team should be cross-functional. When I say cross-functional, a team is a cross-functional team of cross-functional individuals. Each individual is more of move from I skill to T skill to Pi skill to home skill and so on. Yeah, and it has to deliver value in every sprint. Which Scrum or Kanban is fully implemented. Is that enough? No, quality is very important. So XP practices have to be in place. It is not only process implementation. We need to have good engineering practices like code review, test-driven development, pair programming, and so on. Yeah. If you have all this and not having a scaled framework, can still fail. So what this means is first bring agility and then look at overall scaling. Look at what else need to be looked at beyond. Yeah. So so how do you build agility at a scaled level? So if you look at this, from the left I go. Left side is there is a team called the system team. So the system team is all about integrating the whole system, right? As a whole. At least once a sprint. Let's assume that there are 10 teams which are working together building one product. Yeah, totally 10 teams. Yeah, who will integrate and make sure that it is not 10 different pieces? It is actually working as one big piece, right? there is an integration between this product, this team, and it's working fine. So this team, a system team, will make sure that every sprint they pick a build and they integrate and they find failures and then get it fixed by the development teams back, right? Which means this system team is a very focused program level team, which will make sure that system is working fine. Yeah, and little more on the right side, if you go, CD, continuous delivery pipeline, right? Safe strongly recommends build a CD pipeline, right? So Safe is not, though it's a process framework, it talks a lot about practices, right? This is one of the very good practices, building a CD pipeline, right? And your CD pipeline, the maturity of a CD pipeline should be based on your customer demand. Your customer wants a product maybe once in 6 months, maybe CI is okay. If customer wants a product every day, you need to have a CD, right? You need to have an automated deployment should also be planned. Yeah, so it should be based on release on demand, right? Which is the customer, when the customer wants. So your whole execution should be based on when the customer wants. Yeah, and Safe is also gone one more step ahead, saying that it's not about agile only, right? It is not about development team only. It is also about ops. So let us bring DevOps culture. Every individual in the team, every individual in the program should understand DevOps, which means over a period, everybody is not a development engineer or a tester. I'm a DevOps person. I understand the requirements. I design, I develop, I test, I deploy it to my pre-prod. It's good. It's deployed to production. It is working. I'm monitoring. I'm supporting everything. DevOps is a culture. 5 years from now, trust me, 5 years from now, that's going to be the culture that's going to drive the business. Yeah. So it's not going to be development. It's not going to be Java. It's not going to be one technology. It's going to be those who understand end to end are the ones who are going to survive. So DevOps culture is very, very important. Yeah. So okay, further, some more lean part of Safe, if you look at it, like Safe is all about planning at least for 2 to 3 months, minimum 2 to 3, and having a roadmap and visibility for at least 2 to 3 quarters. Right? Is that agile? This is a very common question that I hear. It's not agile because you're expecting organization to are you expecting the team to the product manager to come up with a backlog for 3 quarters. I answer yes. We are not agile. We are lean agile. That's the beauty of Safe, because if you're building a large enterprise system, having 2 or 3 sprints backlog is not enough. That's a bad thing. Yeah. If I'm building a car, I don't know whether I'm building a car or not. And this sprint, I'm giving you a requirement that, hey, let's build 4 tires. Yeah. Specifications are going, will you build it? We won't build it. The reason is that the tires that are getting built, you should know whether it's for a car, or is it for a lorry, or is it for a truck, is it for a bus, is it for what? Is it for a small cycle, right? And what should be the end user requirement? How the end product, how should it look? So if you need to look at that, right? All the lean organizations like automobile has a visibility for next minimum 2 to 3 years. There are companies which has visibility till 2030. Right? They know that the diesel cars are not going to exist in the next 5-6 years, so they need to transform. So all that I'm saying is Safe is expecting is 2 to 3 quarters of backlog, right? Roadmap, high level. It's not fixed backlog. At least we need to know what can we build in the next three quarters, and things can change after a quarter. It's okay. So there are roles like product manager, system architect, and so plays a very critical role, and in building a backlog and building an architectural runway, right? So when we build, because we're building an enterprise system, if you build this kind of a good backlog and architecture, your agile software development in sprint over sprint will be much more smoother. Yeah, so that's a lean part of it. Yeah, so just quick walkthrough of how this program increment planning happens. So in Safe, it's like every 2 to 3 months we do program increment planning. It's called PI planning. So it has got 2 days: day 1 agenda, day 2 agenda. So it's a 2 full day planning. We call it as big room planning. So if you see on the right side photograph, all the teams come together, sit together, and plan. Right? So that's a power of Safe. If I give you a good example, one of the tractor manufacturing companies has built the next generation tractor using Safe with 650 people, and they took maybe 2 years or 2+ years to build a tractor. All 650 people used to come together to one location to do this planning every quarter. And at the end of the complete product development, the CEO comes and says that this was the cost-effective releases that we have ever made. right? The cost is not about travel. Cost is not about stay and accommodation and things like that. Cost is not taking decisions. Many times we waste time and money because we don't take decisions, or we take wrong decisions in silos, right? So coming together and doing a big room planning saves a lot, right? So SAFE believes in it. So it means every 3 months we do such a plan. Yeah. Okay, how do we execute? SAFE is, again, as I said, at the team level, we are agile. So team level, we do PDCA, like plan, do, check, act. Every sprint is a PDCA, right? Which means like we do sprint planning, we execute it, we do daily scrum, we do review and retrospective. Again, next sprint plan, continues, review, retrospective, right? And at the program level, at least once we do a PDCA. We do PI planning at the beginning, for first day of first month, and end of third month, we do PI review, PI retrospective. Right? So the multi-layered, PDCA happens, right? And also during these 3 months, apart from having the team level meetings, we also have meetings like, we also have other execution formats, like for example, Scrum or Scrums, system demo. End of every sprint, there is a whole system is integrated and demonstrated, and so on, right? There are a lot of good practices that you will see that will ensure that your execution for 3 months is very safe and is getting executed very well. Yeah. So you don't really see the surprise in the end of third month. If there is a fail, if you need to fail fast. If you can fail fast, fail today. That's an idea about safe, right? So there are enough practices have been built in. At the end of the PI, we also look at, there are metrics. Metrics are driven based on values. If you remember that house of lean that I showed, the roof of the house was value delivery, right? Value delivery. So sustainably shortest lead time is a goal. So that comes back in a PI. At the end of the PI, what was the value we committed? What is the value we delivered? The measurement is not based on story points. It's based on business value points. Did we deliver? What was the business value points that we committed? Oh, we committed 50 points and we delivered 30 points. Our predictability is 60%, not based on velocity. Yeah. And SAFE also brings in a lot of these lean based tools like, 5 Ys, 5 analysis, fishbone, right? And the Pareto chart and so on, to figure out where are we failing and how should we improve. So we get, as a program, we get a chance to deliver, look at all these every 3 months at least once. Yeah. Okay. So SAFE is required only when bunch of teams coming together and building one product. Yeah, SAFE is all about that. Bunch of teams coming together and then working for building one product. That means there are a lot of integrations and so on. So the previous slides, all that we discussed is about one program, right? What if we have multiple programs running like that, right? And they need to work together. For example, if you're building a large systems, some of the large system, for example, if you're building an ERP system today or a banking system, you cannot build with 50 or 100 people. Yeah. Safe definition of program is not more than 125 people. But building a banking system, if you're building from scratch, if you're building a banking system for, say, HDFC or HSBC, you probably need 2,000 people to build it, right? Which means easily there are 20, 30 programs. So each program is called Agile Release Train. So SAFE also brings in, if you are building a large solution, how do we build these teams together, right? How do we align all these 10, 15 programs or release trains together and then deliver one big value to customer, right? So you can imagine, I have personally worked with maybe 400 people, a solution with 4-5 trains running. And I've heard from one of my very senior coaches, like, we worked with one banking system for 2,000 plus people. Yeah. So SAFE can actually scale up to that level where, thousands of people can work together, right? There's no limit to it. And there are right metrics, right data. So, so you can also look at this, some of these images, pictures. Sorry. So, release train 1 at the bottom, if you see bottom right, train 1, train 2, train 3, train 4, the 1,200 is 1,200 story points per PI, 1,500 story points per PI, right? Which means if you have 5-6 trains running, you probably can build 5,000 to 10,000 story points in every PI. So if you're building a product of 1 lakh, 2 lakh story points, it's very easy to, it's not very easy. It is possible. Yeah. So with multiple trains running, I have seen it multiple times. Yeah. The size of the story point, like, it's not in SAFE. It is not about, like, 5, 10 and 5 or 13 or 20, 40. The size can all the way go up to 50,000 story points. One epic can be 50,000 story points. Yeah, it's proven to work in that environment. So which means it can come all the way from portfolio layer. Like I have a portfolio, and the portfolio has got multiple solutions. Like portfolio can have banking solution, SAP solution, yep, and healthcare solution. Each solution can have multiple programs, and each program can have multiple teams. So under one portfolio, you can have multiple solutions, multiple programs under each solution, and then multiple teams. So SAFE has a way to actually build a good portfolio through lean concepts. So there is a concept called lean budget, for example, right? Lean budgeting is all about, can we budget in a very every quarter instead of having a cost center budgeting. Cost center budgeting is a very painful thing. So value stream budgeting comes in. Right? It's a very, very beautiful concept. Right? Okay. So what I'm trying to do is, I think we come to the last slide. All that I share in the I shared in the last 15 minutes or so is what we cover in 2 days of workshop. Yeah, it's a lot. There's a lot to cover. Right? In 2 days is not enough. And I requested actually the SAFE organization to say, can you do the 3-day workshop, because there's so much to learn. Yeah. So I try to put all this right. So any questions you have, right? Because we have time crunch. I'm just trying to see. Okay, so now I'm looking at chat. How would you have done part of this infrastructure? Yeah, so see, SAFE is not about software development. If you look at the SAFE case studies, so this is a question from Rajiv. I see that, how would you have done this part in the infrastructure? SAFE is not only for software. In fact, if you go to case studies, most of the case studies in SAFE website, scaleagilepframework.com, are non-software examples. Right? People have built tractors, people have built a lot of non-software stuff. So it is for software, firmware, hardware, everything. So as long as you have a backlog for a longer term, as long as you have vision and roadmap, and you have a bunch of teams working together, SAFE can be implemented for sure. Right? That's a power of SAFE. Yeah. So Rajiv, hope that helps you. Helps answer. It's a very short answer. Maybe when we meet, I can give you much more examples. I can speak for an hour only for this question, but in short, yes, it is possible. Yeah. So any more questions? We have like 4 more minutes before we wind up. So you can raise a hand and you can talk, or you can type it in the chat window so that we can actually answer. Okay, great. So yeah, so can you tell us about design thinking? I think it's a big, again, another big part, Atul. So if you I have been thinking about this, how the design thinking is coming in. Design thinking is being part of okay, your question is about design thinking. Design thinking is another large big workshop. How do you bring user, how do you design based on users, are you building a right product for your user? Do you know who are your users, right? You have to go from that scratch. So SAFE 5.2 is coming up soon, and I see that design thinking is one separate topic, right? It is being highlighted as one separate module in SAFE 5.2 about design thinking. Right? So there's a lot more I can share, Atul. Maybe you can send a mail to me. I can send you some links, and design thinking is integral part of it, right? So the lean organizations have to go through that, right? It's all about value delivery. It's all about customer, nothing else. It's not about engineering and product development, right? Design thinking is one of the very, very evolving topic, and that's going to drive the industry going forward. Okay, Partha, so your question, I see that can we implement SAFE in support industry? We can. I probably did not understand your full question. Support industry, if you're asking like support teams, yes, why not? As long as the support is also planned, right? If you can, you can have a longer term plan, and a lean thinking can be brought in. If you have a systems thinking, big systems getting integrated, why not? Yeah. And SAFE is not about Scrum only. SAFE also supports Kanban, right? And if you look at the team slide that I was showing, Scrum and Kanban together. Yeah. So Kanban comes from a situation where you don't have a backlog and then you still want to respond to quicker changes. Yeah. So it is possible. In short. Yeah. Can you tell us about systems thinking? Yeah. So systems thinking. This is one of the big principles of SAFe. What is systems thinking? Right. Are we looking at system as a whole, or are we looking at it as multiple smaller pieces? For example, I'm a banker. I log into my system. I see my balance. I transfer to my friend, maybe 50K. I see my balance minus 50K, my credit card payment, my EMI. Each module that I said now is handled by one team. Now, what does systems thinking here? Just come back and look at the entire system and see, is this whole system working end to end? One part of the system thinking is that. That's what the systems team that I was talking about. Another systems thinking is, come back and look at value stream. How is my entire value stream? Where am I spending time? Where am I wasting time? Right? As an organization, how can we remove? How can we make the system much more stable? Where are my quality problems coming in? Right? Am I looking at overall quality issues and trending, finding a trend of this, and see where the problem is. System think coming in a lot of these different examples, right? I can give a lot of examples, but definitely yes, that's part of SAFe. Yeah, SAFe planning for 1,000 people, is it possible? Yeah, why not? Yeah, it is possible. So this is called solutioning. It's not about program. 1,000 people is probably you have 10 different trains. So I gave an example. This tractor company, they actually had maybe 2,000 plus people, and coming together and planning at the same time, exactly same time, same day. It is very much possible, and that's a SAFe. SAFe is a very prescriptive framework, and that builds a discipline. And I've seen it's working great. When there are a lot of people, it's better to have the discipline. Yeah, so it is possible. In short, yeah. Typically, how long does it take to implement SAFe? How long it takes for an agile team to implement agile? If you look back, right? Any agile team, if you looked at, first sprint, they would have planned for 6 hours and they would have failed at the end of the sprint, right? As good Scrum team, right? After 3 or 4 sprints, you will see they figured out, yeah, this is a way to work. After 3-4 sprints, on an average, it takes 13 sprints for a team to move from forming to a performing in a Tuckman's model, in agile journey. So SAFe also takes a little longer time. It doesn't just give you in one sprint or one PI. One PI you will learn to fail, and that's very important to learn. The failure is a great thing. We want to learn from failure so that we don't make such same mistake. We learn second PI, we have improved. Third PI, we have improved. End of third PI, you will see that it's working. We actually released. So I was an engineering leader for a large system before I moved to SAFe. And then whatever we could not fix for 5-6 years, the SAFe fixed in third PI. Right? We were releasing every 1.5 years. End of third PI, we could release every 3 months. In 3 PI, we got it. And today the same program is releasing every 1 month, every month. So 1.5 years to 1 month release we have come in 3-4 years. You can imagine, right? That's the way it takes time. But initially you need some patience to learn and make mistakes and learn from that, because it's something new, right? Yeah, sure. We will share the URL of the recorded webinar. Sure. I think my team will help you do it. Yeah. Systems thinking and value stream are not same. That's the question that Aishwarya has mentioned, asked. Do we have systems thinking and value stream, and are they same? Value stream is also one part of systems thinking. Systems thinking can be that there are 10 teams writing a code. Do they have a common quality guidelines? The way they do code reviews, the way they do automation, that's also systems thinking. Yeah. And looking at the end-to-end system from product point of view is a systems thinking. Value stream is one very good example of a systems thinking, because we are looking at end-to-end system. Yeah. Okay. Any other question? Oh, so we are run out of time. I think 8:33 now. So thank you so much, and thank you so much for listening and being with me for last 1 year, one hour. We definitely will share this recorded webinar video so that you can watch when required. And I'm sure soon we will have much more more and more videos that that you can join, more and more webinars that we can join, and we also have public workshops across all the pretty much all the cities in India, like Bangalore, Chennai, Hyderabad, Pune. We're planning to launch soon in maybe other cities too. And you can be with us, for a today workshop to learn much more deeper. This is very complex. It's a very big system. Yeah. So it takes time to learn. It's 2 days is not enough. Yeah, sure. Yeah, so thanks. I'm seeing some messages. Yeah. So Atul, we don't do it in Mumbai because we club Mumbai and Pune together. We do it in Pune. Definitely, one of my colleagues can talk to you and see how we can help out. We're still figuring out whether to come to Mumbai or not. Yeah, yeah. We'll probably meet you soon, Samesh. Yeah. Yeah, so sure. I think I see that, looking forward to webinar on changes in SAFe. So you can expect going forward, we're just launching the webinar series now. You will see that maybe at least multiple times a month, so that, we will come up with new topics. It's about learning, it's about SAFe, about Agile, about delivering value to customer, and so on. So you will see much more, the next coming months. Yeah. So, okay, cool. Thank you so much. Yeah. So, great. So